Malasudam Kumbha Vibodha Mudra Vidya Virajata Karavari Jatam Apara Karunya Sudamburashim Shri Sharadamba Pranatosmi Nityam. Seeking the benediction of Jagannmata Sharda Parmeshwari, Magdevi Saraswati, that repository of all that is culture, knowledge, tradition, wisdom, art, learning and fine art, I bow to her as I commence my address today. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this on behalf of Sri Shanmukananda Fine Arts and Sangeeta Sabha and the host of cultural, educational and religious institutions of Mumbai to this pleasant function organized this evening to celebrate the life and times of one of the greatest maestros of our living memories and to greet and felicitate her on being nominated for the second highest civilian honors of the country, Padma Vibhushan. On the 26th of January this year, which coincided with the 75th anniversary of Ganatantra Divas of this blessed nation of ours, came the joyful news of conferring this second highest civilian honors on two of the most noted Bharatanatyam artists of this century, Dr. Padma Subramanian and the evergreen artist whose name rings in all of us more because of Sangam to begin with and later years into classical art, Vaijayantimala Bali. It is indeed a tribute to the Indian classical art that the highest honors have been conferred on two of the greatest practitioners of this art in a single year. Any excuse for celebration is fine. Celebrations are essentially of two types: of thanksgiving to the divine for having been endowed with whatever we are blessed with, and then to keep the past behind and move forward in life, knowing full well that this life is eternal. Friends, this life is like a Christmas tree, evergreen and fresh. No amount of snow or storm can weather its petal. So too is human spirit. Despite the cloud of adversity through which it passes in the life Suzanne of a person, it invariably emerges triumphant. By its very nature, human spirit is celebration. But then not all partying in life are celebration. But if a purpose is attached to the celebration, then it becomes sacred. Then the body, mind and the soul are in sync with each other. We are experiencing such a unison this evening. The Isopanishad says, Isavasyam idam sarvam yat kanchane jagatyam jagat. Whatever happens, wherever happens, is permeated by the same divine force. It is that blessed force that has given us this beautiful evening. On the 23rd of December 2007, on that wintry December day, as part of the Kanchi Mahaswami festival, the Sabha conferred its then National Eminence Award for lifetime contribution on Dr. Padma Subramanian. Members came in large numbers that day to witness that event. In later years, we rechristened that award retrospectively as Sangeeta Kala Vibhushan. Coming events, they say, cast their shadows before. But it is equally true that the wheels of government move very slowly and painfully, but they move forward is the redeeming feature. It has taken 16 long years since then for the Government of India to nominate her for the highest award of this land, the second highest award of Padma Vibhushan. When we honored her, we honored the art. Kala Vibhushan, we said. And the Government of India, when it announced this name, what crossed my mind was, her name is Padma. And then Vibhushan is being added to it. That means she is being decorated as the ornament of the nation. If we could decorate the art that she practiced as the ornament, the Government of India one step ahead and made her the ornament of the nation. For nearly 7 decades, through unremitting devotion, attention, dedication and commitment to the cause that she has served the full gamut of Indian classical art, she is indeed emerged as a rare jewel amongst the committee of practitioners of Indian classical art. Indian classical music has far more than an entertainment value. It has plenitude. It has peace which passeth understanding. It is origin which can be traced to Vedic times. The rishis of the yores have always described the Absolute as Satyam, Shivam and Sundaram. To an ascetic who is a realized soul, a Jivan Mukta, the beauty of the creation can be seen with the naked eye. But the vision of an artist is less expansive. He or she sees the beauty of nature around through patterns and sounds that are there in the air. And it is when they perceive these patterns and sounds, then they sing or dance, whatever be their art. And the experience that comes to them is what is called as Brahmananda Sodara. Arunagirinadar, 650 years, he said, what do we all worship? Nada Bindu Kala Adi Namo Namaha Veda Mantra Swarupa Namo Namaha. This is the only culture in the world, the religion in the world, where sound and art are worshipped, and not just ordinarily worshipped, but as manifestation of Vedic mantras. From Narada to Tumru, Bharada to Jayadeva, to Purandaradasa to Annamacharya, to Surdas to Tulsidas, to the trinity of music, Indian classical music chronicles the Hindu way of life. Whenever I say Indian classical music, I borrow this word from the Mahaswami of Kanchi, that Sangeetam does not mean only Carnatic vocal or any vocal. It is all embracing art forms. It includes dance as well. The beauty of Indian classical music in that sense is because of its origin to Vedic times, it embraces all the Upanishadic values of life. And therefore, this is all encompassing. It embraces all cultures, all arts. They said about our contribution to unity of art, Indian classical music has that soul character. And that's why it says, I am Nijaha Paro Vedi, Gananam Laguchetasam, Udhara Charitanam tu Vasudeva Kutumpakam. If this country believes that the entire universe is one family, how can its culture be different? That is the greatness of this culture of ours. Padma was born to the legendary parents, Director Subramanian and Meenakshi, in 1943. She was initiated into this classical art at a very young age, under Kaushalya, in Nrityodaya, that was founded by her father in the year 1942. If institutions will have Sadabhishekam, then it's time for Sadabhishekam for Nrityodaya. And if individuals will have Sadabhishekam, since 1943 is not far away, a few months down the line or the year following, she too can have the Sahasra Chandra Darshan. The early promise that was seen in her father seconded her to Vaduvur Ramaya Pillai. And then she started emerging, blossoming as an artist in her own right. In the early years when she worked with our brother Balakrishnan on a documentary, film on the temples of South India. For the first time, I think what you and I would dismiss as an idol or as a stone started attracting her. She looked at the Karnas and felt there is something beyond an idol or a stone or image. To the ordinary persons like us, the Rachikas or people who appreciate art, it is a stone. To a performing artist, it's a karna, it's a movement of the dance form. But she went beyond that and saw a soul inside it, a life inside it. And that opened up her vision for a greater understanding of art itself. There was enough research material at that point of time. Ananda Kumaraswamy, T.N. Ramachandran, and Sundaramurthy had all done enough work on that. And that inspired her to believe that she should take it forward. But there were gaping holes in her understanding of what these eminent men had already given about the Karnas. To a family which was devoted to the Mahaswami of Kanchi, it was but natural that they would look up to him for guidance, for filling up all those gaps in our understanding. But then the family also had a mistaken perception that the sage of Kanchi shunned women from public work and more so from dance. So she suffered in silence and submitted himself to him that whenever it is his blessings, she will get an answer. And a miracle worked, and it came very quickly. In the Deepavali Malar of Kalki, which followed immediately, contained an extensive article on the sage of Kanchi. And on Karnas, on dance, all that the sage had said, it answered almost all that she wanted. The missing gaps in her understanding of the Karnas came to fore through that literature that she saw in that Deepavali Malar. And still there were certain elements for understanding. And then when the family went for a darshan of the sage of Kanchi across the Damal lake, in that tiny Vinayaka temple, she got the rest of the answers and the blessings of the sage of Kanchi for doing her doctoral research in the Karnas. It was not an ordinary doctorate that you and I can do over 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Because it's structured, this thing. Because when you look life into an object, the understanding will make you go far beyond that because you are dealing with a human aspect of the element of dance. He blessed her and she started laboriously working towards it. She came to the positive conclusion that karnas are not static movements. They are in fact dynamic expressions, movements of art. On a larger plan, she came to the unity, the unison, the uniformity in the substrum of all art forms in Natya Shastra and beyond. Her discovery into Margas made her renomenclature, her own dance from Bharatanatyam to Bharatanatyam. The word Nrityam has been borrowed from her. And when that word came into her and she started dancing what was called as Bharatanatyam, it became Nityam Nrityam. So it became dance every day. And when such feverish involvement gets into you, you will be successful in whatever pursuits you will have. When she successfully completed her doctorate, she bundled all her research papers, put them into a cloth, and then came to Hampi in Karnataka, where the sage of Kanchi was camping. She came before him, prostrated before him with the family, and placed it at his lotus feet. He looked at it, and when it was being opened for him, Doctorate he asked. The next question he asked would have confounded her. Bhujanga Tarasitam, image irkkadukulla. When she nodded, it brought home two things. One, that he was a Trikalanyani, a person who could comprehend and think things beyond the ordinary. I wonder if Oliver Goldsmith, instead of having written that poem on village headmaster, were to look at the sage of Kanchi, he would never say, how much can this small head carry? How much more can it carry? That was the greatness of the sage of Kanchi. I also said all these things only to bring home to you that she had the unrationed blessings of the Mahaswami of Kanchi all through her journey in this classical art during his lifetime and even beyond today, when in spirit he continues to guide humanity. The sage of Kanchi at the ripe age of 88, when men and matter settled down for the rest of their lives, came on a Vijayatra to this great place of ours, Maharashtra. He came to the western part of Maharashtra, through terrains, through blocks, through mountains, through stones. At that frail, healthy age, he walked through and ultimately landed in Satara, where he camped for 8 long months. He was attracted by the Krishna river, the Veni river, and therefore he camped there for 8 months. Then it came on to him, a vision, and he envisioned that there should be a temple for Nataraja in this part of the country. The Chidambara Rahasyam should not be confined only to deep down south of India. It should also come to this Punya Bhumi, the Maharashtra of ours. And as he conceived that project in his mind, then came Shamanna Shanbag, a devotee, who translated that vision of the sage by donating the land that he required for the construction of the temple. He laid the foundation himself in October 1980. If ever there is one single temple anywhere in India which manifests and symbolizes the federal structure of the Indian Constitution, of the unity between the states and the center, it is only the Chidambara Nataraja Mandir in Satara. The 4 Gopurams were funded completely by the state of Maharashtra. The Pradhana Gopuram, of course, is for our state. One by Andhra, one by Karnataka. And when nothing was left over, Kerala came and said, all the timber that is required for the sanctum sanctorum of this temple shall be provided by that state. It didn't stop there, because the sage also dreamt that the Karnas should come here. And when the Karnas were to come over here, he had a different vision of the Karnas that he had. And I'll tell you, when I come to the 108 Karnas, why she was destined to do that can be related to the fact that she was the 8th child of her parents. Those were not the nuclear family days. Those were days when they cherished and loved large families, joint families. 8 is very auspicious, both in the Greek mythology as well as in Hindu philosophy. In the Pythagorean theorem, 8 represents success and capacity to overcome hurdles. And Lord Shiva is called as Ashtamurti. Lakshmi is called as Ashtalakshmi. Ganapati is called as Ashtavinayaka. He is the Aradhya Dev of our state. That is why we have 8 Ashtavinayak temples all across Maharashtra that you can see. Ashtadik, there are 8 directions in this universe. Ashtanidhi, there are 8 sources and powers of wealth in this world. And Nama Sankirtanam, that you and I extol the virtues of the Lord, is incomplete without Ashtapati. So small wonder, the 8th child outshone the rest of the siblings and moved forward successfully, notwithstanding the fact each one of her siblings have been champions in their own right in the fields of their own achievements, no less than what she had achieved. And this 8 in the Hindu philosophy is the only one which can be prefixed 108, 1008, 10,008. Every numeral prefixed becomes auspicious. That 108 that was prefixed to this 8 brought in the 108 Karnas to Satara. So when he envisioned that the Karna should come here, whom else look for than to his devotee who had done work on the Karnas? So he beckoned for her and she came along with Mutayastapati, the sculptor who was to do the job. The sage then told her, I think whatever understanding she had, whatever doctorate she had, were all dissolved in no time when he said, first it cannot be a single pose. Unitary pose of dance koodadu. He wanted a conjoin of male and female. And what type of male and female? Jagatat Pitrau Vande Parvati Parameshwaraha. It should be Parvati and Parameshwara in the single block of Karna. 108 such Karnas have to be done. And then he said, whatever text you write for the moment relating to that Karna should be in Devanagari. Not in English that I and you are comfortable with, for an ordinary devotee to understand what is it that is being conveyed by that. The last one which he said is the reason why you and I call him as Nadamadam Devam. He said these Karnas should be at the eyelid, at the level of the eyes of a person, around the sanctum sanctorum of Lord Nataraja. So when a person goes in circumambulation of the sanctum sanctorum, virtually is going round the 108 karnas of Parvati and Parameshwara. If a single circumambulation can give Lord Ganesha all that wisdom, jnanaparam that he got from the parents, imagine how much the blessings can inure to people if they were to go round the pradakshana of the sanctum in Satara, of the blessings of that wisdom that can come to each one of them. This is the greatness of the stage that fell onto her, and that is why all the work that she has brought out are of a cloth which are not national but international, but even far, far beyond that. Honors and titles sit very lightly on her shoulders. In the documentary, I probably did not hear correctly, but 155 titles she said. But I think the last one that I would have read was that of her disciple herself in that book that she brought out in the year 2018, Padma Mandalam. She said up to 2018, 107 national awards, 7 international awards, 3 films, 4 documentaries, 10 books that she has written, and many more have been added, culminating in what we are celebrating today, Padma Vibhushan. It is one thing to deserve an honor and other thing to have it. Dignity lies not in possessing an honor but deserving it. That's the greatness of every honor that comes to any person in life. She deserves every honor that has come her way. On a joyous occasion like this, it is but natural. This is the greatness of Hindu religion, that the youngsters can also bless the elder. The elder traditionally can bless the youngsters. But when youngsters will have to bless an elder, she is now into her 81, as I said, Sahasra Chandram is coming to her. Even youngsters like us in Samuham can honor her and bless her. And elders unitary can do that. And conventionally, the Ashir Vachanam is Jivet Sharta Shatam. May you live 100 years. Is the traditional honors that is being given. But at a time when mortality has substantially improved, life expectancy has gone up substantially, a mere 100 years may not be a good blessing at all. But the Atharva Veda saw through this millenniums before, several millenniums before, that the universe will have a situation where 100 years may be inadequate. And then the Atharva Veda said, Pashyet Sharta Shatam, Pushyet Sharta Shatam, Roget Sharta Shatam, Bayet Sharta Shatam, Jivet Sharta Shatam, Bhuyet Sharta Shatam, Bhuyam Sharta Shatam. May you live 100 years, free from diseases, of a clear vision, not only of the eye, but also of the mind, and freedom from fear, favor, and want. May the Jagannatha Kamakoti Kamakshi shed her grace on her and bless her so that this doctrine of Atharva Veda would completely come onto her. May the Jagannatha bless us too so that we can draw a leaf from the life of nobility of Padma, incorporate into our lives through passage of time in this eternal quest in our pilgrimage of perfection, a little of the Tyaga and Seva that has been the hallmark of our life and make our life sublime. Thank you and God bless.